Hello friends and welcome to another episode of Team Jesus Outdoors. Hey, as you guys know, we've had a crazy winter. Most of the month of January has been open water. We're probably going to be getting some ice here real soon, but looks like we won't have decent ice till around 1st of February. So it's just been a crazy winter. I've pretty much made zero attempt to get out so far in 2023. But hey guys, I have a video idea that I want to talk about that I think will spur some conversation. As many of you guys already know, I was just at the boat show here a couple weeks ago. I go to the Ultimate Fishing Show every year, whether I'm looking for a boat or not. Heck, even if I'm just going to hang out with buddies, I always make it to the Ultimate Fishing Show at least once. But I can't help myself from taking a look at boats, whether I'm boat shopping or not. I guess honestly, I'm probably always kind of boat shopping. Anyway, if any of you had an opportunity to take a look at any of the boats this year, you've noticed the same thing that we've been noticing for the last couple of years. Boat prices have just gone crazy. I mean, these boat manufacturers have just lost their they've just lost it. They are completely out of touch with boat buyers in this country. If you're interested in buying a top of the line anything, top of the line walleye boat, top of the line bass boat, anything up in the 20-foot range that really requires a 300 or better outboard to push it along at decent speeds, anything in that range, you're looking at $75,000 to $100,000 plus. If you would have told me 30 years ago that the average 20-foot bass boat in 2024 was going to be $100,000 or more, I'd have told you were crazy. When I was involved in the bass boat industry back in the early 2000s, you could still get a lot of boat for 50 grand. In fact, I bought my very first new boat in 1996 for $10,000 out the door. It was a 17-foot Miracraft aluminum side console multi-species fishing boat with a 75 Merc 2-stroke. Now granted, I had very little electronics on that boat. I had a Minn Kota power drive trolling motor. I think it was only a 12-volt trolling motor. And I had a Humminbird flasher at the dashboard. That was all the electronics I had on it. But I bought that boat brand new. It was a 1-year-old model on the show floor at the boat show. I bought it brand new for $10,000 out the door. Heck, that very same year I bought a new Chevy S10 brand new out the door for 12 grand. So for $22,000 in 1996, I bought a brand new truck and a brand new boat. Guys, you can't buy an outboard to power a 21-foot bass boat for $22,000. It has just gone absolutely bonkers in the boat industry. I think it's safe to say I am never going to spend $100,000 plus for a boat. It's hard to imagine what life's going to bring 20 years from now, but I cannot see myself ever paying $100,000 plus for a boat. And to be completely honest with you, I really don't have room to store a 20 or 21-foot boat. I have bought and sold more than 24 boats in the last 25 years, trying to find that perfect boat for my fishing style. In other words, I've been chasing a unicorn for 25 years because there's no such thing as one boat that does everything perfectly. But that's what I've been trying to find. Anyway, What I want to talk about in this video, now that I've rambled for a couple of minutes, I'm sorry. What I want to talk about in this video is what does it actually cost to pick up a brand new boat for multi-species fishing, walleye fishing, bass fishing, muskie fishing, pike fishing, just a good all-around multi-species fishing boat rigged with the right electronics to help you catch fish. So while I was at the show, I looked at some boats. I looked over some catalogs for some boats that I didn't see at the show. For me, the ideal size, just for my storage situation, in my driveway situation, for the situation at my property, the ideal size boat is going to be somewhere between 17 and 18 and a half foot. Because I demand a boat that's really stable, I'm a big fella and I fish with some pretty good sized fellas at times. But for me, one of my top 3 list items that I absolutely insist on having in a boat is stability. I want to be able to stand with one foot on the gunnel, fighting a fish, while my buddy stands right next to me and nets that fish without the fear of tumbling into the water. So I demand a boat that's stable. I gotta have a boat with a decent ride in rough water. Those are pretty much my 2 top priorities. So guys, for purposes of discussion, I took a 17 and a half foot Crestliner Fishhawk 1750. My buddy has this boat. He bought it a couple of years ago. I did a video on that. I'll put the link in the description box below. I think right now a 1750 Fishhawk right now is easily in my list of top 3 boats that would be perfect for me at this time. So for purposes of this discussion, we're going to use a 1750 Fishhawk as an example. I've located a couple that are still 2022 models, so the pricing is a little bit more favorable on those. And I've put together a list of electronics and such that I think are the ideal way to power that boat. So I'm talking about batteries, trolling motor, fish finders, shallow water anchor, kicker motor, hydraulic suspension seating, and I've kind of made a list of what that equipment would be. I've tallied up some prices, and guys, I could put together right now what would be darn near the perfect multi-species boat for me at this time for $60,000. That would be a 2022 model 1750 Fishhawk that I could pick up right now for about 40 grand. 24 volt lithium trolling motor battery to power a Minn Kota Ultrex. For fish finders, I used for the example a Garmin 93 on the bow with live scope, in addition to a Lowrance Elite 7 FS at the bow. And that Elite 7 would be networked to a Lowrance Elite 9 FS at the console, which would be double stacked with a Helix 10 at the console. So we're talking 2 Lowrance units, a 7 and a 9, a Garmin 93 SV, and a Humber Helix 10. Minn Kota Ultrex, 80-pound thrust, an AGM battery for the cranking motor, a 12-foot Minn Kota Talon, and a couple of Wave Pro seat bases. Now I also included for this example a 9.9 Mercury Pro kicker, although not running a kicker wouldn't be a deal breaker for me. I really don't have use for a kicker all that often, but it sure is kind of a peace of mind just knowing that you're not going to get stranded 20 miles from home in the middle of Lake Erie or the middle of Saginaw Bay. So guys, this $40,000 fish hawk equipped right with the right equipment that I prefer would be a $60,000 rig. 60 grand for a fishing boat. That same rig 25 years ago, obviously much of that equipment didn't exist 25 years ago, but a 17.5 foot boat approximately that size, well, let's just call it a fish hawk. 25 years ago, a 17-foot fish hawk with a 115 Merc, and the best fish finders you could use at that time and the best trolling motor you could use at that time, you'd be talking about somewhere in the neighborhood of a $20,000 boat 25 years ago. So why in the world have boats tripled in price in 25 years? I'm going to offer you the top 2 reasons why the price of boats have gone crazy over the last 25 years. So reason number 1, why have boats tripled in the last 25 years? Reason number 1 is inflation. The cost of everything has tripled or more in the last 25 years. It's just the way it goes. That's largely due to crazy government spending and stupid government policies, but whatever. Inflation just happens over time. It's unfortunate because wages never seem to keep up with inflation, but it is what it is, and we're not going to change the world tomorrow. So reason number 1 is inflation. Reason number 2, and the more frustrating reason, stupid government policy has driven the cost of an outboard motor up about 4 times over the last 25 years. An outboard motor today costs about 4 times more than it did 25 years ago. Because the morons that run our country have completely bought into the pseudoscience of man-made global warming, these idiots in Washington are hell-bent on force-feeding bad products down our throat. The only thing available to buy today is a 4-stroke. Now, there are a lot of great reasons why you would want to own a 4-stroke over a 2-stroke. We certainly shouldn't have to buy a 4-stroke because some meathead in Washington thinks that the polar bears are going to be extinct in the North Pole because of the pseudoscience of global warming. Guys, there is no legitimate science behind global warming. The planet warms and the planet cools the same way it has warmed and cooled since the beginning of time. Guys, the cost of outboard motors have been driven through the roof because of crazy government policies and crazy California emissions policies. The technology that we run is leaps and bounds ahead of what it was 25 years ago. I mean, it's truly amazing how far technology's come in a short period of time. I can't even imagine now fishing with the technology that I had to fish with back in the mid-90s. So the technology, the equipment now that we want to put on our boats, like I said in my example boat, you take a $40,000 boat and put $20,000 of equipment on it, 50% of the cost of the boat. Nonetheless, that's what it would take. That's what it would take on a boat to make me happy. Hey guys, what I'm really interested in hearing is I want to hear your thoughts on this matter. Did you guys get a chance to look at new boats at the boat show? Are you in the market for a new boat? What do you think is the perfect? What do you guys think is the perfect boat for multi-species fishing? If you're a bass guy primarily fishing bass tournaments, a bass boat is clearly the best boat for you to own. If you're a multi-species guy that chases a lot of walleye, chases some bass, chases some toothy critters, then it gets a whole lot less clear. I think it becomes a lot more subjective. The conversation becomes much more subjective. So guys, I want to hear your thoughts. What is your idea of the perfect boat? What is your idea of the perfect way to rig a new boat? Heck, if I were to buy I've given thought to the idea of finding a nice used 10 or 15-year-old fish hawk. But I still want to put $20,000 of electronics on it. Because the electronics to me, running the right electronics to me and for the way I fish is just as important to me as running the right boat. So in your opinion, what's the best way to set a boat up for electronics? Guys, make sure to go check out our other channel, TJL Men's Ministries. Whether you are brand new to faith in exploring the ideas of putting your trust in Jesus Christ, or if you've been following Jesus Christ for 30 years, either way, I think that there's something that you could find something that will interest you over at TJL Men's Ministry. And I'll leave a link here at the end of the channel for that video. Guys, thanks for all your support. Make sure to click that like button. Make sure to click subscribe. God bless. Tight lines. We'll catch you guys on the water.